15 years have passed, and I still park my car where I can see every exit. People tell me trauma fades with time. They're wrong. Some memories don't get quieter. They just learn how to wait. My name is Daniel. I'm 33 now, but I was 18 when I made the mistake that changed my life forever. It happened in late October, just after 11 at night. I was walking home through a narrow footpath behind the old industrial estate in my town. It wasn't unusual. I'd taken that shortcut hundreds of times because it cut 15 minutes off the walk. The rain had just stopped, leaving the pavement shining beneath the streetlights. The only sounds were dripping gutters, distant traffic, and my own footsteps. Then I heard another pair. Not behind me. Ahead. I slowed instinctively. A man stepped into the yellow glow of a street lamp. Another man followed a few seconds later. At first I thought they were arguing. Then everything went silent. One of them collapsed. The other stood perfectly still. No panic, just silence. The standing man slowly looked around. That's when our eyes met. Only for a second, but it was enough. He didn't run. He didn't react. He simply looked at me with an expression so calm that it frightened me more than anger ever could. I turned and ran. I didn't stop until I reached the police station. The officers found a body exactly where I described. From that moment, my life stopped feeling like my own. I gave a statement, worked with a sketch artist, spent hours answering questions. The detectives warned me not to discuss the investigation with anyone. I listened. At least I thought I did. 3 days later, I found an envelope pushed under my front door. There was no stamp, no address. Inside was a single sheet of paper. It contained only 6 words. You remembered the wrong face. The police believed someone was trying to intimidate me. They increased patrols around my neighborhood. Nothing else happened. For 2 weeks. Then strange things began. A gate I always locked was standing open. A kitchen window I'd closed was suddenly unlatched. A chair on my porch had been moved only a few inches. Each event had a reasonable explanation, until they all happened together. The detectives thought someone was watching the investigation. I began doubting myself. Had I really seen the man's face clearly? Or had fear filled in the missing details? One detective asked me something I hadn't considered. What if the person who sent the note isn't the killer? That possibility terrified me even more. Months passed. The investigation stalled. Eventually, life moved on. Or at least everyone else's did. I left town, changed jobs, stopped talking about that night. 15 years later, the police contacted me unexpectedly. New forensic evidence had identified the victim. The case had been reopened. They asked me to return. I agreed. The detective placed an evidence box on the table. Inside was the envelope I'd received years earlier. They had finally found a fingerprint. It didn't belong to the man I described. It belonged to the victim. For a long moment, nobody spoke. The detective explained what investigators now believed. The victim had known he was being followed for weeks. He had written several warning notes before the attack and hidden them where he believed witnesses or investigators might eventually find them. The note wasn't a threat. It was a warning. You remembered the wrong face. I hadn't seen the killer. I'd seen someone else standing nearby who had fled before police arrived. The real murderer had never looked at me at all. For 15 years, I had lived in fear of the wrong man. The police reopened every piece of evidence. Witness statements, traffic cameras, phone records. Only then did they discover a figure leaving through a service alley that nobody had noticed at the time. The real suspect had never been identified. Before I left the station, the detective handed me a photograph taken from a newly enhanced CCTV frame. The face was still impossible to identify, but something else caught my attention. The figure wasn't looking at the victim. He was looking directly toward the path, toward the place where I had been standing. He knew someone had seen him. He just never knew who. Even now, every time I pass a stranger who glances at me for a second too long, I wonder whether he's simply looking around, or finally remembering where he saw me 15 years ago.